Hello friends, you're at a corporate banking course, and as you can see we are making our first steps and covering the fundamentals. In fundamentals we have 4 sections, and we already covered financial statements, and now we need to learn how to build financial models. In this video series we will start with a blank Excel sheet, and over time I will teach you how to build a complete model that I would be comfortable presenting at the bank. Let's start with a quote by Charlie Munger. He said that Berkshire Hathaway has gotten to its present place with zero in the way of formal models. Or have you been hiding them from me, Warren? Well, this is quite unexpected. You probably thought that I would share a quote that would motivate you to build financial models, but I chose this quote because when I first joined the bank, I thought that if I will learn how to build big and complex models, I will know which clients are good or bad for my bank. And actually over time I understood that it is not completely true, because let's think of a model. It is projecting financial performance of a company into the future to see whether the company will be able to meet its debt obligations. And for you to build a good model, you need to understand the business well to make the right projections. And if you really have a good understanding of the business, then you don't really need a financial model to know whether the client is good or bad for your bank. And if we make another analogy, if you need financial model to make a financing decision, then most likely you have gaps in understanding of the business. Well, taking this aside, financial models are very useful for your development and to your bank. And let's explore why we need financial models. First, as we discussed multiple times in previous section, financial models will help you to understand how financial statements interact with each other. And as you can imagine, to project financial statements into the future, we need to make correct links between financial statements. Second, financial models will help you to get a basic understanding of new industries and businesses. So when you will build your first financial model, you will need to understand the business economics, what are the inputs and outputs, and over time, with each new model, you will gain more and more business sense and business understanding. Third, the financial model is useful to present the project to less informed colleagues. Most likely, each month you will be looking maybe at 1, 2 or 3 projects. And some of your colleagues in other departments will have to look at 5, 10 or maybe 15 projects. And they don't have enough time to dig deep into the business you're looking at. And with the help of your model, it will be easier for you to present the financials and the performance of a business. And finally, financial models are used to monitor your bank's loan portfolio. And to understand this, let's have a look at how bank operates. It receives money from depositors and uses those money to provide long-term loans to businesses. And as you can imagine, if the loans are bad, then depositors are at risk of not receiving their money. And here comes central bank, and its main purpose is to protect depositors and to oversee bank's operations to make sure that the bank is not taking on too much risk. So central bank may make due diligence of your bank and have a look at how you analyze companies. They can read credit reports, how you build models, and see if your assumptions make sense. And similarly, your bank uses financial models to monitor the loan portfolio and see how it performs against the projections made at approval. So as you can see, there are a lot of useful purposes of financial modeling. And now let's have a look at stages of financial modeling mastery. We of course begin with Excel basics. To build financial model, you need to know how to work in Excel. And you don't need to worry, because to build a good financial model, you don't need advanced Excel skills. And actually in the next video, we will begin with Excel basics. Second stage is your first model. It will most likely be a complex model, and that is often crashing. So by complex I mean there are a lot of sheets, many calculations, and it is overall difficult to comprehend your model to any user. And by not working I mean that when the user changes any of the inputs, the model is crashing and is not working. Then next stage is when you have a complex model but it is working. So it is still very difficult to understand your model, but when the user changes any of the inputs, the model is working, and I think it is a good progress. Next is when your model is simple in structure. And by that I mean when you send the model to a user, The user doesn't need you to explain the model. He or she opens the model and can easily navigate inside the model. There are no complex calculations, and the structure of the model is simple to understand. And finally, we have fundamentally simple model, and in this model, the inputs are specific to the business you are dealing with, and there are no unnecessary inputs. And you will know that you reached final stage when everyone wants you to build models, when they enjoy working with your model, and when they don't need you to explain how the model works. So you just send them the model, they open it, and they can quickly navigate inside the model. And now you can see a red line, and the red line indicates that after this stage, the model is most likely acceptable to a bank. I've seen many models that are complex, but they are in the working conditions, and they are most often acceptable to a bank. And it's of course up to you to reach the more deep stages to make your models more simple and more usable. And I think it is important to note that you cannot jump over any specific stage. You will have to deal with each stage. So first you will learn how to work in Excel. Then you will most likely have a model that is complex but not working. Then you will have your first model that is very complex, but it is in a working condition. And over time, if you decide to improve your models, you will first have a model with a simple structure, and finally you will have a fundamentally simple model. And I think it is worth it to improve your modeling for others to enjoy using your models. I think that's enough for the introductory stage, and in the next video we will start with Excel basics, and I'll see you. Thanks.